G'day viewers, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing the gold corner BGAs that you saw in my mailbox video, and as you can see there's half a kilo. And I'm going to put them in a tin and put them in the fire. I won't put them all in at once because they need to get air to them as well. If I put them all in at once, the bottom ones won't get much air. So I'll put a handful in, just enough to line the bottom of the tin, and when they're all white then I'll add a few more and a few more and a few more until it's all done. As I discussed in the mailbox video, I'm not going to separate the back of these. I'm going to put them in there as they are, but first I need to soak these in hydrochloric acid if that's the case, because there's all sorts of solder balls on here that I don't want in my solutions. So I'll give those a quick soaking and then we can carry on with this video. Okay, so I've got a container ready to put the hydrochloric acid in, and I've laid the first few with the solder balls facing up so that I know they're not going to sit flat on the bottom and not get hydrochloric acid. Now the rest of them I can just pile in. I'll pour the hydrochloric acid in and let it sit for a while in the sun. Shouldn't take very long, and then I'll be able to rinse them off and put them in the fire. Okay, so as you can see they're all in the container now. I'll just get the hydrochloric acid. Now here I've got used hydrochloric acid. I always use my acids as often as I can. The first time I used this, there would still be plenty of strong hydrochloric acid left in there. I don't see the point in wasting it. Acids cost a lot, so I'll pour that in there. There's enough in there to cover it, and I'll let that sit for a little while. If I don't see much in the way of bubble activity, which there already is by the looks of it, then I'm going to put it in the sun anyway to warm it up. But if I needed a little bit more strength, I can just add a little bit of hydrochloric acid. But as you can see, that's already reacting, so that'll be fine. I'll just put it in the sun. Okay, I had some hot hydrochloric acid from doing MLCCs. When I drained it off, I poured it into here, and I might as well put these on the heat instead of being in the sun, since the heat was already on and the hydrochloric acid was already hot. I've just added it to what was already in there, and I'll let these boil for a little while. I'm trying to get everything ready for the fire since I got the fire going. There's about 4 or 5 different things I'll be doing in the fire while it's going, make the most of it. I like to maximize my wood, my acids, everything. Whatever I'm doing, I try and maximize what gets done, more efficient. So they should be ready to go soon. The BGAs have been soaking for half an hour in hot hydrochloric acid, and they've been rinsed off. So now I'll put them in the tin, just a small amount at first, so they can all get oxygen. I know I say this in all my videos every time I'm doing something, but I need to let you guys know that they all need to be oxygenated as well as burnt. And you'd be surprised how many people ask me silly things that I've showed in my videos, which is why I keep repeating myself, which is why I say on every single video what I'm doing, even though I've said it in every other video, because people are too lazy to watch my videos, and they ring me up or they message me and say, can you tell me how to do this, can you tell me how to do that? Right, no, I had someone message me the other day saying a friend of theirs has lent them money to start a refining business. Can I tell them step by step what to do? I said, what do you think I make videos for, my health? They just don't want to watch them, and that's not how this works. You watch the videos and you learn, and then if there's something in the video that you don't understand, then you ask me. I'm not going to sit here and hold someone's hand and give them step-by-step instructions when it's all in the video. So, rant over. That's why I repeat myself. I'll put this in the fire now, and I'll top it up as I need to. Okay, so the gold corner BGAs have all been roasted. Now I'm going to put them into the dolly pot and give them a good crush up. You can see after they've been crushed, there's a lot of copper in gold corner BGAs. So this is one of the discs that you saw on the top of the BGA. This is the base, which is mostly copper. Same with this one. So all these bases are made of copper. That's going to affect the amount. So we weighed it to start with, but then you got to subtract all this copper from the weight to get a true reading. So see, there's more copper here, which was in the fiberboard. That's all got to be taken out, unless I see bits of gold on there. If I even think there's a bit of gold in there, I'll put it in the solution, but otherwise I don't want to dissolve copper and waste nitric acid. So I'll inspect that carefully before I put it in, but I've got to pick all this out and then keep going crushing more. But I've got to pick this out so I can sieve it, get all this dust down into the dish down there. I've picked out all the plates, but I'm not confident in not putting this in the solution, because some of these look like they've got gold on them. See around the edge out here? That all looks like it's gold colour. Okay, so that's how much copper plates have come out of all these BGAs. And it's important to know, because from the very beginning you say, okay, there's X amount of weight, and then you try and work out how much gold you should be getting. But all this has to be taken into account. This is going to be quite a bit of weight off the original start weight. These particular ones here are very thick and heavy. So your estimate from the beginning will be a lot less. Look how thick that is. It's quite heavy, that one. So your estimate from the beginning will be way off because of all this copper. Now I've got the sediment in there, the fine sediment. That's going to have a gravity wash, a gravity separation, and then I've got the coarser stuff that didn't go through the mesh. I'm not, as I was saying before, I'm not confident. I don't know what I got to tell you because the phone died, but I'm not confident in not putting this through because there is gold on them. So all this here, I'm going to have to just bite the bullet and put it through the acid. See the gold in this? So I'll treat all this with acid, and whatever's left over in here after I separate the ash. But this here can go in my stock pot. There's nothing on there to worry about. The gold's all in the debris. Okay, that's what I'm left with after the gravity separation. So now I'm going to put that and all this into a beaker and do a nitric bath to dissolve any silver, copper, things like that, and just leave the gold behind. Well, I put the BGAs in some water and nitric. It's not even on heat, and look at the reaction. That's because of all the copper. Usually dilute nitric when it's cold doesn't really react very strongly, but copper acts like this all the time. I'm not going to put heat on until most of this reaction is gone, otherwise I risk a boil over. Once all that goes, I'll turn the heat on and the acid will work better for other things like silver. And I should just leave the gold behind. Okay, so the gold corner BGAs were on a nitric boil all day yesterday, and I turned it off last night. There was little to no reaction. So now I'm going to pour this off, filter it, give it a good rinse, and then get the gold from it. Okay, so the gold corner BGAs have filtered into here. There's still some sediment that's gone into the filter as well, so I'll put that back in there. And now we can get the silver from in here. So what I'm going to do is pour some hydrochloric acid in. Doesn't look like there's going to be much in there, but if there is any, it'll settle out in a day or two. Should have gone really cloudy, but I think there is a little bit of silver in BGAs. Anyway, for now, what we're going to do is we're going to put some Aqua regia in with the sediment from the BGAs. So we'll put the hydrochloric acid in first. And I'm still getting people asking for help, and they've told me they've used a 3-to-1 ratio. Please do not use a 3-to-1 ratio. It is the easiest way to have problems. You don't do 3-to-1. You do a little bit of nitric at a time. A little bit like that, and then when you need more, you put more. When the reaction stops, then you put a little bit more in there. Otherwise, you will over nitric, you'll have trouble dropping your gold, or you'll be wasting precious nitric acid and then having to denox it. So all you need to do is put tiny bits as you need it. Please do not do 3-to-1 ratio. I know there's videos out there that tell you that's how you do it, and in every single one of those videos you'll see they denox their solution, which is wasting nitric acid. So now we'll put this on the heat and we'll start cooking. So I'll put a lid on it so we can see the fumes build up, and when the fumes stop, then all the nitric has been used. I'll put a little bit more in there. And you keep doing that until you put nitric in and there's no reaction, then you know it's finished. And then you're only going to have a tiny bit of nitric to deal with. Alright, so we'll come back when that's done. See, there's a nice reaction from that little bit of nitric I put in. So I just wait for it to die off. When there's no more fumes, I put a bit more in there. And so on. I can't stress enough how bad it is putting a ratio. Some people will have trouble not getting their gold because there's too much nitric, or those who do denox well will just waste the nitric by denoxing. Okay, so this has been sitting for a while, and there is a little bit of silver in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is decant the solution. I'll let that settle again now because I've just stirred it. Decant the solution, and I'll put that silver aside because it'll go with all the rest of the silver for the client. Okay, so the gold corner BGA solution had settled overnight and there was no more reaction last night. I just put some more nitric acid in now and returned it to the heat. As you can see, there's bubbles in there, but there's no fumes, so those bubbles are from the heat. There's no reaction after putting more nitric in. So I'm going to take the lid off, boil off some of the nitric, denox it, and then I'm going to filter it so we get the nice clean gold solution, and then I can drop the gold. Okay, so the BGA pulp has been filtered, and it was clear, but I just stirred it up because there's a whole pile of crystals. I don't know if you can see them. I just put some water in there to dissolve them. By the time I put extra water with SMB in there, that should be enough anyway. So now I'm going to mix up some SMB and drop the gold. Sorry guys, I thought I hit the button as I was pouring the SMB in, trying to hold the phone with one hand and push the button at the same time, and there's an instant colour change, which was what I would have liked to have showed you on camera, but the SMB's in there now. I'm going to boil it, because I find when I boil it, it settles a lot quicker. And to make sure that I've got it all out, once it's boiled and the water's clear, I'll do a stannous test, see if there's any more gold in solution. Alright, so the gold from the BGAs has settled, and you can see down the bottom there's some excess SMB mixed in with it, so that'll come out in the wash process. I need 2 hands now to pour this into my gold wash water vessel, and then I'll give that a couple of rinses, 2 or 3 rinses with some water. Then I'll put some hydrochloric acid in there, give it a boil, and I'll get rid of all that rest of the SMB, and I'll come back when I'm doing that. So I've poured off the SMB and I've put the first bit of water in there, the first of 3 water washes. As you can see, there's a lot of gold stuck to the outside, and I've tried squirting it down. The only way that's going to come off is with Aqua regia. It shouldn't amount to much, it's only a light coating. It looks like there's a nice pile of gold down there. So we'll see. I don't want to pour too much away. I'm trying to keep everything in here, but it's always fine powder at first until I put some hydrochloric acid in, and after a hydrochloric acid boil, it usually turns out to be a lot coarser. So we've got 2 more water washes to go, and then I'll boil in hydrochloric acid. Time to pour off the second water wash. Now, any little bits of gold that may go across, the tiny little bits that will settle in the bottom there, will be so minuscule they probably won't even weigh up to anything. However, because all this, there's a little bit troubling across there now, because all this belongs to the person I'm refining it for, anything that does gather down there will be collected later on and added to the final tally, because there's also going to be gold from the IC chips. So time for the third water wash. Let that settle. Pour it off, put some hydrochloric in and boil it. Alrighty, so I've done the water washes and I let it sit overnight. I had it down to the smallest amount of water, and I had it sitting on top of this plate which was hot at the time, and the heat managed to dry it out, but that's fine. Unfortunately, I'm not ready to weigh it. I have to go through the whole process again to weigh it, but right now I'm going to do the hydrochloric acid boil. And I've got used hydrochloric acid down in here, not much, but a little bit. And this hydrochloric acid has been used for gold boils in the past. That's where I got it from. So I'm going to put that in there, just in case there's any fragments of gold in there, not that I can see. And I'll put a little bit of fresh hydrochloric acid in as well and give it a boil. Well, I can't believe I finally found a way of drying gold powder. The easiest way. It's been staring me in the face for months and I didn't notice it until now. Why, I don't know. I use these lids on top of beakers and they get hot. So what I've done is I've put the BGA gold on the plate with a glass over it, because it's a bit of a wet and woolly day, and it's drying it out perfectly. The glass is obviously just there to stop it blowing away. And why I didn't think of this before, it's got me beat. There's still a bit of moisture in it, but it's drying nicely. So better weigh it up soon. Now, I made a mistake, a major mistake really, in an effort to try and get every bit of gold. As you saw, I processed the gold corner BGA tops with the bottoms. It's futile because there's really no gold in the bottoms, in the fibre. Although you can see it, it's been proven many times by so many different channels that there's just nothing there to recover. And what it's done is it's thrown out the weight. Now my customer wants an average, well, what to expect in the way of gold, and I can't tell him because the weight is not accurate thanks to having the fibres mixed in with it. So all I can give him is a guide saying that with gold corner BGAs you get up to 8 grams per kilo. There's no guarantee of that. So with the half kilo we started, he would say 4 grams, but half that, some of that weight was all the fibre. So him and I have both sort of come to the conclusion that if we get 3 grams, then that's pretty good. and by the looks of it there might be 3 grams there, so hopefully we'll see. Well, that didn't work out quite as planned. You can see it's still got stuck on the plate, but I think I'm onto something, because now if I try putting some, not now this time but in future, putting some grease proof paper on there, some baking paper, it won't burn like it did the last time I tried it. And put the powder on the baking paper, I'm pretty sure I'll finally have this sorted. But I had to scrape off as much as I could, and this will get wiped with some paper towel that's got Aqua regia on it, and I'll just include it with the IC chips because that's for him as well, and I'll go and weigh up what I did get. It's been one of those days, not having much luck today. That's the gold I got. I tried weighing it. I briefly saw 3.2 and then it stopped. The scales died. I've tried putting batteries that I've had laying around in there, but they're obviously flat as well. So I need to buy some new batteries. It was on for like 2 or 3 seconds and then it just died. And now the scales won't turn on. So we kind of got what we wanted. It's going to get refined anyway. Once I do the IC chips, which are for him, I'm going to refine all the gold together. So I'll just keep this aside until the ICs are done. But that's the end for this video. Hope it was informative. Hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.